People say that blondes have more fun, but they haven't met drunk T-Lo.
I'm not getting older, I'm just getting bolder.
I have an appetite for life and Korean barbecue.
Does anybody want a shot?
That intro will never get old to me. In today's society, every single action that a woman does or takes can and will be sexualized. So why shouldn't we take control of our sexuality? Today, we are breaking the cultural taboo and taking our sexy back. So we're back for a very special in-person Tit Talks. I'm going to bring on my co-hosts, the Tiffany's. Say hello to Tilo.
Hey.
Hey. Ticha. And hi. And Chook.
Hey. This is just so great because it's like, I just saw you.
And this is interesting because we are live, guys. We cannot edit anything, and so please, give us a little grace here because it's our first one. But we're so excited to be live with you guys. And actually, we do have a guest here, but she's having some technical difficulties. So if she doesn't join us, you are going to see her back with us for one of our How She Built This episodes. So let me just give her a quick introduction and hope that she can join us soon. So together today, we have the ultimate boss lady, an amazing mom running 3 businesses in beauty and retail and podcasting. Her name is Dee Reed. So stay tuned. We hope she chimes in on our topic today. She would be the ultimate guest. So I can't wait. And I really hope she can join us. But again, today we are taking our sexy back, empowering you and ourselves to own our sexuality. So if you didn't know what you should know already, we're Asian Americans and Pacific Islander descent, and what we don't talk about at all is our sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
We don't talk about these things, so bear with us because it's a little uncomfortable, but we're gonna get comfortable because this is so important to our relationships, but also to being the boss moms that we are. All right. So now that we've given you the full disclosure, everyone, imagine the first time you had sex or even any time you've had sex. I don't know about you, but I do this. I kind of bring in anything someone has ever taught me or I've ever heard about it, from religion to my parents not speaking about it, to maybe in your experiences watching porn or any past traumas too, or shame-filled cultural messages you receive. You take all that baggage into bed with you. And I think as women also, I'll just speak for myself in every way here. I don't want to speak for the whole group. I overthink things. And I do that also in bed. So all this stuff kind of gets in the way of us having pleasurable sexual experiences. Am I right?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I'm cringing.
I think I'm very good at not overthinking. I'm just so like,
You are the ultimate.
You would be the one.
You're the exception to the rule.
and like sometimes I'm like, and I'm just not as philosophical as my dear friends here. Like I should be thinking like about other people's feelings, but I'm very good at just being like, So let me hear from you guys.
I really need to conquer that skill. But today we're going to talk a little story. We don't have lots of time, but we're going to chip away at this iceberg of a topic because there's just so many things you can go into. And we're going to go into the stigmas, the meaning, and the message we need our spouses to know and maybe your partners to know, and kind of, talk about how we're going to approach it with parenting as well, and maybe how our parents approached it also. So I'm going to ask everybody, what were the early stories or I guess education you were given about sex, and to what degree did they serve you or hinder you?
Okay,
I'll
I'll start. Go ahead. No, you Chook. You go.
This is going to be very short. My parents didn't tell me shit about sex. All I knew was that since kindergarten, this is all I knew about sex was that I was not to get pregnant. I was just not supposed to get pregnant, and I learned what sex was in middle school, and I was like, whoa, that's weird. Like that's amazing. I didn't in my head that like this was also a pleasurable human experience until high school. So that's my education.
Yeah, same. The only education I got was from school. So it's really funny though, because my kids, you know, a lot of people tell their children that babies come out of their belly, right? But I'm like, no, you came out of my vagina and it hurt. I'm like on the real with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I had no education whatsoever. And I started my sexual experiences way too early, I will say, which we can get into later, but no education.
Yeah. So mine was kind of weird because I got like the extreme. So my parents had a video store with an X-rated station, X-rated section. So every day I was renting out like Three-Way Freeway, Dirty Pods. And then on the other hand, it's like I didn't even know sex involved like penis and a vagina, even though I saw penises and vaginas all the time. So
Just like this?
Yeah. Three-Way Freeway.
Oh my gosh.
Guys, you look at these pictures and it's like horrifying. And when you're a kid and you don't know exactly like the mechanics behind sex. Anyway, so like that's what I see at work. And then when I go home, it's just like zero, right? So it's funny because Kenny and I actually do take showers together, and she'll like put water in my butt, and then she'll turn around and says, "Now your other butt." These things have two butts. So I learned anything. It's communication, you know, from day one, you know, that's age appropriate, but just so, you know, girls especially know what it entails, what it's about, and then precautions, you know, after that.
That's hilarious.
I love that. Your other butt.
Your other butt.
That's so cute too.
How old were you when you were working in the video store?
Starting at about, I think, 9 or 10 years old. All the way up to
That's a very early education.
Yeah, so you imagine this 9-year-old girl looking at like all this like crazy porn. They know it now though, you know? Like I feel like the porn back in the like early 90s is probably like dirty debutantes, you know?
Yeah, now it's much more
These days, I don't even know.
unreal.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, I was gonna say I got no formal education either. Like my parents didn't say anything, and I was super innocent, so I probably didn't want to hear it either.
Yeah.
But Chuka, what were you going to say?
So my dad had a video store also, but I think we've talked about this before. Like, so weird. Like he would get promotional items for movies that came out, and he used to wear this T-shirt for a movie called Booty Call.
Oh my god!
Did I tell you this? So there's a movie called Booty Call, and he just wore a bunch of shirts that he got for free. So he used to always wear this shirt.
This is such an Asian American experience, like both of you guys, like this to a T.
My brother texted me a couple of years ago, and he was like, "Hey, does Dad still have that booty call shirt? Because I want it." And he still has it. My brother only wears like T-shirts that are like at least 20 years old.
It's vintage.
But I also remember the 18 and older section because it was like there's a like kind of like a hidden hallway, and it's like 18 and older. And I never went in there because it always seemed so like scary to me. And I was like, it's probably dark in there. I don't know what's hidden in there.
Definitely gross in there.
Yeah, it's gross. But I also like it didn't compute with me. I just thought it was like something weird and bad. That's why I knew it was like in a different section. But did you actually like watch the VCR, like the tape record, the tapes, the videotapes of porn?
I did.
Oh, I can imagine you holding up like a cup, like the videotape cover.
Did you have to rewind them?
Yeah, because I was gonna say, were you rewinding them?
Yes, I had to rewind it. And so, and then And it's like, the store was a little disorganized. So sometimes I would pop it in and think it's like, 16 candles, but it's like, I could have known better. I mean, I was 9 years old. How would I have known?
God.
That is so interesting.
You must be expert level in bed. I just
No, porn. I mean, we shouldn't get philosophical about this, but porn actually like heightens your like not only desire but like weird perception about what turns you on to like unnatural levels. So it's actually really bad for intimacy. Porn is terrible.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thank you for that tidbit.
Mhm.
So now that we've told you guys about our sexual upbringings, I guess, or early exposures, I'm going to bring in our guest, Dee. She is here with us live. Fun fact is I've known her since high school, and we both randomly moved to LA. She's an amazing mom, and she also does so many things. So I'm going to have her come on board and let us know about her podcasts, her businesses, give us a little intro, and then we'll go right back into the good stuff. So what's up, Dee? It's so great to have you here.
Hi, Dee.
Hey, Dee.
Hi, I can't hear you.
Are you on mute?
Okay, I'm not technically like.
There you go.
All right. Hi, guys.
Hey, you look
I'm
beautiful.
excited to be here. Thank you. I, decided to put myself together since I was going to be like on camera again for the first time in a while. How are you guys all doing?
We're cringing.
I mean, I was listening. I was just like, oh my God, VHS porn. Yeah, that takes me back.
Were you in a video store too? Raised in a video store?
No, but Issa, you know that I managed a video store. When I was 17, I was the assistant manager at Blockbuster, the age-old favorite. And we did not have the famous backdoor video section. So we would sometimes get older men trying to walk into like our break room thinking it was the porn section.
What?
Yeah. I remember a guy going back there, and he was old. He had to be like 70, and he's just like, "Oh, where's the adult film?" I'm like, "Not in a family store, sir. Please go down to Odyssey Video."
Like, you need to go to Tita and Tooth's parents' stores.
Yeah, he thought he was going into the private room. It was not there though.
That is hilarious.
Oh my gosh. We are really dropping gems today, guys. Things I never knew about any of the girls, and I've known them so long.
These kids don't know. They don't know because they hop on, they type in something, and it pops up. Whereas you had to like raid your dad's stuff if your dad even had stuff.
Right. Dee, go ahead and give us an intro into you, into what you do, all the amazing things that you have going on.
Oh, well, I mean, starting off, I have a salon. We do eyelash extensions, and a few of my coworkers, they do other things like facials and permanent makeup, all those kinds of things. I moved to LA, God, what was it, 9 years ago, 10 years ago? I have no idea. It's kind of all a blur now. But I moved to LA, started off, working these Craigslist jobs like telemarketers and things like that. And then decided to get into the beauty industry. And I actually wanted to do makeup first. And then I tried to do makeup and I realized I hated doing makeup. So I ended up finding out about eyelash extensions, and I thought like it was so amazing to see the transformation when you get eyelash extensions and like how it just changes your face. And so I was like, I need to learn this. So I learned it, and then I was working for a lady for about 4 or 5 years. And then after a while, me and a few of my coworkers decided to open our own salon. We opened the salon 2 years ago. Fast forward, COVID hits, right? Well, before all of that had happened, me and one of my clients had become really close. And she's travels a lot, and she's really big on like Instagram. She's like, one of those beautiful women who get paid to be beautiful. And she was just saying she really wanted people to kind of know her personality more. And during some of our lashing sessions, her and I would just be crying laughing. We'd be talking about just whatever. And we kept yelling like, where's our podcast? Where's our podcast? So one day she hit me and she was just like, listen, I really want to do a podcast and I want you to do it with me. I was like, are you serious? Sure. Okay. And the thing is, I think we all know, like, talking about sex can feel kind of like, when you're with your girlfriends, it's different. Like, when you're with your girlfriends, you can talk about, girl, and I was upside down, and then, like, I couldn't breathe for 5 seconds. You feel comfortable, right? But then as soon as that mic light came on, I was just like, I'm a virgin. I don't know what because you become like, there's who you are in public, and then there's who you are with your friends and who you are with your family. And the podcast was a big stretch for me, but we do have our podcast. It's called Baked Ziti, and the name came from, her name is Zara, my name is Dee, and we're like, what the fuck? Or I'm sorry, we can't cuss on here, can we?
No, we can.
Cussing bad? Okay, my mouth is awful. I'll try not to. So like, what the hell can we do with the letters Z and D? And we're like, well, I mean, Ziti is kind of like Baked Ziti. We're joking, and then we just ran with it. And so the show is called Baked Ziti. Honestly, it is a very fun podcast. We talk about everything from unsolicited dick pics to threesome etiquette to morning sex versus afternoon sex versus night sex to what was one of the other ones? Oh, ugly attractive, which was one of my favorite topics. So that's like when you are attracted to someone that you know who isn't technically or generally looked at as an attractive person, but you're just like hot for them anyway. Like, if I had to ask you guys, who you thought was attractive that other people would probably argue, who would you say?
Oh, Adrian Brody.
Yeah. See? Thank you. That was the first one in my head. I'm like, him, Benicio del Toro. I love him. My girlfriend said Robin Williams.
Interesting.
She said she loved the idea that he's hairy. Like, she was just like, I just want to be like a bear.
We have a girlfriend that loves hairy men. I won't say him.
I mean, it's an acquired taste, I would say. But so yes, I've got the salon. I've got the podcast where we talk about what you guys talk about, just probably turned up a little bit on the sex part.
A lot.
And then a lot. And then we talk about, what else? A bunch of things. And then I have my faux fur line that I just dropped last year. So I've got a few things I'm working on. And I have other things I'm like starting to work on that I haven't really talked about, but those are my 3 main things, aside from being a mom to a 15-year-old boy. So,
yes,
life is busy.
Which we're going to table that because we're going to talk about our parenting choices. Like, what would we do different in teaching our kids? So we're going to, I think you will have the best insight on this, but
I'm ready. I'm ready.
But I have to say, when you said like with your girls, it's different. Like, I don't think we really talk about that, you guys, because I think it's because our backgrounds, like, I really don't know how Dave, Michael, and Glenn are in bed, and it's probably better that way. But
I'm like, you don't
want to know what your brothers do in bed. It's like,
that's how it would feel.
Oh, honey, my brother.
We talk about like we did it, or like we the frequency.
Oh, see, it's different for me. My brother once told me my sisters on our sibling chat, just FYI, guys, good morning, but remember, spitters or quitters. That was his morning to us.
Just trying to
So,
point
it's a little different, I think, probably than how you guys grew up. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Which why
Yeah,
I'm
my
so
bro-
happy
your
that
brother-
you're here. Yeah, I'm so happy you're here. But I think that's like necessary too. I mean,
Definitely different. Yeah. You
to owning your
know,
sexuality. I wish that my mom shared with me more. Have you guys watched Bridgerton? Like, you know how she told her mom, "You did not
Not
prepare
yet.
me for
Yeah.
married life."
Remember those sheep
Not yet.
on that one vacation? And I was
What is it?
You-
Is that a line from the show? I haven't watched it.
You're
Oh,
gonna love it because not only I think it just speaks to like you have this like old soul kind of. I feel
Mhm.
like
I love the
it's
old stuff.
yes, it speaks to that. But so basically, she didn't know what was up in bed or whatever.
The
So she
mechanics of how it works.
yes, so she got
That's
married.
kind of upsetting.
Yeah, and she got mad at her mom. Like, you did not prepare me.
Yeah, so the thing is, I feel like as mothers, we're supposed to prepare, especially our daughters, for life. And it should be an easier conversation than with your sons. So my life with my mom versus my dad was very different. My dad is an angel to me. If you ask me, I was dropped off by a stork. He never touched my mother. But my mom, she was like, if you're having trouble with oral sex, hold your breath. That helps. So very different realities. So my
We need your mom on
literally-
here.
Oh, she would take over the whole show and demand to be a fifth. Like, like my mom actually
Is her name Tiffany?
writes a lot of poetry, right? She'll change it. My mom used to write erotic poetry, and she would do like she would go to like stand up like artist shows and recite her poetry, and it was
Wow.
yeah. She would go into
And
great
everyone would
detail.
be like,
Like, I gotta go.
Yeah, I didn't listen because as much as open as my mom, it's still weird to like hear her be like the explosions quiver like oh.
Okay, episode
I don't
2,
wanna
guys,
hear it.
on owning your sexuality will be with Dee and her mom.
Yeah, that'd be she would love it. That woman.
Well, what I remember of these ladies and myself is like in our sorority, we would have sex toy parties.
Oh God, I remember those.
Or we'd have a stripper come over. I don't know if we're supposed to let everybody know, but we would have a stripper come over, and we were all like, "Oh no,
female.
please
I remember a
It
female."
was silly. It was a male.
It was always
Oh.
male.
Male.
It was a male, but I
And
liked
that's really
maybe
not
because
for
I
men.
like female strippers. But anyways, I like
No?
to. I think it's artistry, right? I don't like them. Like,
Mhm.
I think it's beautiful. But anyways, that's another subject. But so we would all be like, giggly, oh my gosh, like because we weren't prepared. This is a normal part of life. And so, it's interesting to see your take on it, Dee, on how you're like, yeah, with your girlfriends, you talk about this, but we really didn't do that.
Yeah.
So now we're talking
That's
about
like
it. We're talking
the
about
whole point of it.
I
That's what girlfriends are
know.
for. To
Right?
talk about the things that, you can only think of in your head or you can only say out loud by yourself. Because like I was talking to a girlfriend about this, it's like your girlfriends really are family you choose. And so that experience you get is supposed to be freeing. You're supposed to be open with your friends because you chose to be around them. It's different with family, obviously. But like even with sisters, my sisters, we talk about everything together. So it's not like taboo either. So it's kind of sad that you guys didn't get to like grow up on that and it be just a normal part of your life, because it's a normal part of my life. And I mean, I still like get shy about stuff. Don't get me wrong. I'm still just like, oh my God, I don't talk about that.
Well,
But
this is perfect.
it's not
This is
like
opportunity to learn to talk to each other about it now. There's still time.
That's
Yes.
what this is for,
Yeah.
and everybody else go out to your girlfriends and say, "Hey, we got to talk about it." But
Absolutely.
Dee knows
Absolutely.
my husband. She's actually known him longer than she's known me because they grew up together. The
Jake
funny
the
part,
snake.
I know. Jake the snake. The funny part though is, so here I am, innocent Issa. Jake and I have been together since high school. I think you guys all know that. But
Since
I made
dinosaurs roamed the earth.
I made him wait. Like, we got together when I was 17. I don't think I lost my virginity until I was like right when I turned 20 or something. I probably had it. It was never drilled into my head like wait till marriage. It was drilled into my head like you will not be with anyone until you're like 40. So that's what was drilled into my head by my parents. But the funniest thing I have to say, because my girlfriends didn't educate me, because my mom didn't, is I actually bought, I don't know how an ad got to me this way back in the days, but I bought a DVD set that taught you how to have sex. And it wasn't porn. It was like informative. And it was the worst
sex
decision
ever.
It was like so dumb. But this is all I had to learn about sex before, because I was so nervous. Like, he had experience and I didn't. And you guys, I don't know if you guys, well, of course you guys know, everybody knows how that feels like when you're going into your first experience. And it was such a buildup because I made him wait so long that I like didn't want to fuck it up. You know what I mean? But he actually found the DVDs.
No, he did not.
He did, and he was like, "Is this porn?" I think he probably judged like my taste in porn. Probably
He's like, this is the
Yeah.
weirdest porn I've ever seen. So boring.
it was like Sex
Vanilla.
101, and it had like
Vanilla
older
porn.
people in the front. It was really weird. So he was
So
just
it's
like,
step by step. Put your
yes,
hand here. Put your hand here.
it really was. It was like, and then now he will insert. I don't even really remember, but I'm sure it was like that. But this is why we need to talk about it, because then you got people like me not knowing what the hell to do with, like you
Right.
think hella expectations and it's not going to go right. So going into that,
That's so sad.
I
So
know.
was it a terrible first experience? Because mine, in my head, I was like, oh, it's going to be this. And then I was like, yeah, that just hurt and it wasn't pleasurable at all.
It wasn't fun. Yeah. But I
What
mean,
about-
it wasn't.
not
It
fun
did
for
hurt.
anybody.
But Jake was so nice, and I think because we had that long basis of a relationship, that it felt comfortable, and he was always checking on me and very, very careful with me.
Aww.
And I, Jake.
Fast forward, you're swinging from a chandelier now, huh? And Jake's like, "Why are you doing that?"
Oh my gosh.
All I can hear is like the Sia song now. and he's wearing the Sia wig from the Girl Talk episode. Oh my
I
gosh.
have one. Oh gosh.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Will be to help people like me, or how you approach sexual experience with your son. Give us a lowdown.
Okay, well, with my kid, it's different because he's a boy, obviously. I have a son. And I always kind of wondered how that would go. Like, how would I be able to connect with him on that way? And honestly, that I'm like a jokester. Like, I'm really quick. I like to play around a lot. And so luckily with him, I've been able to kind of like joke around about things and kind of like ease it into it being normal conversation. So like when he turned 14, I allowed him to watch Game of Thrones, right? So that's our show together. We have nothing else in common in life. He doesn't like anything I like. He doesn't like, besides the fact that he grew in my body, we have nothing else in common. So we watch, obviously, Game of Thrones, right? And there's lots of like sex and things like that. Now with him, I just joke around like, oh, they're getting it on again. You're going to turn and what? Like, just like little things like that. And I don't know, like I feel like because I just started early kind of like trying to be comfortable around him and like just make jokes about things, there is no weirdness there. And I always tell him, like, I want him to know he can talk to me about things. Like, obviously I tell him, hey, I know you're going to want to talk to your dad about things, obviously, but no, you can talk to me too if you ever want to know about like a woman's opinion, because I'm a woman and I can tell you better than your dad can. And so like he knows that. And I've been raising him to be a gentleman and like how he's supposed to talk to women and like the things we expect. I have the conversations with him about when you get older and you start wanting to date women, be honest, Let them know what you really want from them, because it's going to be a much easier transition in your life. If you look at someone as just like, I just see you as like, you're really pretty and I like you. Be honest, because you don't know, she might be crazy. Because guess what? Mama's crazy. You never know. You might get a mama. Like, because ask dad. Your dad. Ask dad. He's dad's 6'3", 200, like solid, and he's terrified of me, and I'm little. So be honest with women. Like, I try to keep that conversation honest with him. And so when it comes to actual like sexuality, I literally just saw this this thing on Instagram, and this kid is like, Mom, I gotta ask you a question. And she's like, what, baby? What's going on? And he's like, what's a queef? And the mom goes, oh, baby, that's nothing. That's just when there's a little bit of air in the girl, and that just means you either got to switch positions or you got to help it out, and don't make the girl feel bad about it. And it was just funny because all the comments would be people going, I wish I could talk to my mom like that. I wish I could have had that conversation with my mom and not felt embarrassed. That is my whole goal with my son. Even though obviously he's a boy, I'm a girl, I still want him to know, like, I'm your mom. Like, at the end of the day, I wiped your butt. Like, you can't even be embarrassed in front of me. I know more about you. I was there when you discovered your penis. Like, so please talk to me about everything. He was like probably about 6 months old in the bath, and I saw him flick it, and his face changed. I knew then he knew what it was. He was concentrating and looking to the side, like. That story. He hates when I tell that story, but it's the truth. So when it comes to parenting, I feel like boy or girl, doesn't matter. As mothers, it's our responsibility, to make our kids comfortable and to educate them on everything we possibly can, because we spend the most time with them. Teachers are there to teach them about, the freaking, I don't know, revolution or whatever. Like, they're there for that stuff they're going to forget tomorrow. But the things that stick with our kids are the things that, we pass on to them. So knowing their bodies, being comfortable with sexuality, knowing, like, let me tell you something. As soon as my kid even knew about, like, liking boys and girls, I can't remember what grade it was, maybe 5th or 6th. And I was like, do you like any girls in school? And he's just like, ew, Mom, no. And I go, well, do you like any boys? And he's like, what? My whole thing with him was, I just want him to be comfortable to come to me about everything. So whether it be that you like guys, that you like girls, that you don't like anything, that you want to know about sex, that you want to know, why you feel this way. When he had his first morning wood, I was there. So like, my kid is very, like, I'm very open. He came out, he was about 5 years old, and he was crying. And he's like, Mom, it won't go down. I don't know why. I'm like, it's okay, baby. It happens to daddy too. It's okay. He was like 5 or 6. He's 5 or 6.
Get prepared, ladies.
Yep. And he came out of his bathroom. I'll never forget. He wanted to go pee-pee, and he couldn't go pee-pee because it wasn't going down. And I said, don't worry, baby. It's going to go down. Just be very gentle with it. This happens to daddy all the time. And he's like, it does? And I'm like, yes, it's normal. So like it or not, my kid is like, I've always kind of like been very open. He'll never be ashamed to talk to me about anything. I would never want that, because how weird is it to try to like figure this out on your own?
Exactly. So that's like the hurdle that we all have gone through and are kind of trying to break the cycle of because of our upbringings.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
And
it's really important.
To my mom's credit, she did change her mind. I remember with my little brother Miko, he had a very serious girlfriend pretty early, maybe 14-ish, and she took them to together for some education at the doctor, but also to get birth control for his girlfriend, and I'm sure that involved a conversation with her parents too. So I thought that was I was like, Mom, you didn't even talk to me about this stuff, but you're going to take my, we're 10 years apart, guys. So she totally had a change of, opinion on how to handle that situation, and maybe also more.
But you're her oldest? You're your mom's oldest?
Yeah.
Oh, you're the practice baby, girl. We're usually the practice kids. Like, I only have the one, so he's getting it all. But like, he didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Her upbringing was strict as well. So adjusting is hard for our parents. Think about like how they grew up. So
Mhm.
like my mom would tell me how my grandmother wouldn't even say the word pregnant because it was a bad word to say. Like you would have
Pregnant?
to say you couldn't say pregnant. Yet it was like dirty. It made it seem dirty. So it was more like with child, expecting. Like you can't say pregnant back in the 40s because it sounded dirty,
Wow.
like you were some harlot.
Pregnant.
Yeah.
Such an intense
Yeah.
word, right?
Scarlet letter, pregnant.
Pregnant. Like, it's
Scarlet
such a big
Bee.
deal.
Scarlet
But think
Bean.
about the time.
Yeah, I think together Jake and I are going to approach it, but yeah, she's definitely already discovering that area. And I'm always
Mhm.
like, just let her be. Don't make her feel any type of way. And I learned this also from my friend Jeanette, who I remember we were giving Oliver a bath. Poor Oliver when he's older. Oliver a bath. And he was doing the same thing, like what you said, Dee, like what you described. And so yeah, it's like you don't want to shame them. You don't want to instill that into any of their future experiences. And so I think just being honest, like you said, and kind of making it light. I like that. Like
Yeah.
making
Be lighthearted.
right.
Because it's like
And
it's nothing to like. Can I just sitting them down saying, now we're going to talk about sex? Like,
the birds and the bees.
how
Yeah.
awkward. How awkward. Like,
It's
And
so-
also, I feel like that's like part of it where it's like it wasn't explained to you that it can be pleasurable and it can be fun. You
Right.
learn about like all the ramifications if you get pregnant, but nobody's really actually educating you on like what a fun and beautiful journey it could be. So I like actually really
Right.
love what you're saying, where it can be so fun and uplifting to talk about it. And then
because yeah, we're allowed to enjoy it now. Think about, a long time ago, women weren't even expected to enjoy it. And
Right.
it's such a weird thing to say out loud, but that's the truth. That's where we come from, where women were just used for babies, and like as we've grown as people, it's like we actually enjoy sex more than men, and we're able to do it a lot better than men. And there's a reason, because we're the sexier sex. Like,
I agree with all of that.
So yeah, so it's like it should be talked about as a pleasurable thing. It is. Like, we don't do it just for fun. I mean, we don't do it just for babies. Like, we do it for fun too.
Right. And it shouldn't be this
More
like
so.
guessing game. Like, do you feel comfortable with that? I like how you said, like, just say what you want, because it sometimes feels like a guessing game. Like, and
Here's
I
my
know
thing. I've always
a lot of
said,
a
as
lot of
long as
women
it's
are not
adult-
getting what they want.
Right. And my thing is this: in the real world, as long as it's consenting adults and it doesn't involve children or animals, do what you want. Enjoy yourself. Go balls to the wall. As long as everyone involved is enjoying it. So,
I
that's
agree.
it. It comes down to like.
We actually had a commenter say 100% relate as a woman, and I totally agree. Thank you, Fisty Talks, for tuning in.
Yes. Fisty Talks, interesting name.
I know. Well,
I'm just kidding.
Tilo, you actually have a boy and a girl.
Yes.
Is there anything you would add on to how you're going to approach?
Oh my God, I have not been really like cerebral yet. They're like 5 and 3.
I know.
And the girl is 5, so I haven't had this morning wood situation yet. I did not know that it starts that early. But my husband my husband is always like, oh, you're having that conversation with Tessa, I'll deal with Miles. But, knowing what I know from my own personal experience, for sure, transparency, tell me anything, I'm here for you. Like, that's going to be my mantra. I think for me, it's more so getting through the trauma of like how as a culture, like I'm not used to talking about anything at all. I even have that problem in my adult life. So I'm like going to have to work through how to be open with my kids.
That's what your girlfriends are for, is kind of getting you to be comfortable about those things.
Because,
like,
you're going to hear about my sex life, Isa.
Good, and the goods and the bads and all of that. Like, that's what it should be, honestly. It should be with your girlfriend.
Our husbands talk about us in bed?
I don't know.
They
I
don't.
doubt
Oh my God.
it.
Okay, yeah, they don't. Yeah. Okay.
They don't. I'll tell you right now, I've had that conversation with men. I've asked. And when it comes to like the woman that they love, they're very mute about that. Like they don't want to share any of that information because the last thing they want, it's like almost the same thing as like most men don't want a woman who is always naked online or something. They don't want their women seen that way.
Sexualized.
So they're not exactly. And so they don't even want to tell their friends, oh, Issa, she does this thing when she's drunk. Like, no, they're not going to say that. I mean, usually they're not. So it's like,
yeah, so like, they don't want that to ideate in their friend's head, and they don't want their friend to think of you that way.
Then they're imagining it.
Oh,
they don't want you're their woman. You're the mother of their children. You're their queen. You're who they bring to their moms. Like, they're not going to, they don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. I mean, I'm sure there's some types of men who will talk, but for the most part, no, they don't.
Okay. That's some good insight.
More of a woman thing.
So moving on from the guys, what do each of you, and I'm so sorry, Chuk and Tisha did have to go a little bit early, but what do each of you, Dee and Tilo, what are the ingredients for you guys to have the best or the most fulfilling experience with another person?
It's like, for me, it's like, it's tied into my head and how I'm feeling, right? Like it's not just a physical thing. It's how I'm feeling inside too. So if I'm mad at you, I kind of don't want you to touch me. Like you know what I mean?
Right.
But I know there's like good angry sex, whatever, but but for me it's more so like I want to feel loved. I need that connection, I guess.
Yeah.
What about you, Dee?
She's sipping on her tea.
Oh, start. No, there's a few things. To have this most fulfilling, let me think. Really, it comes down to, I think, connection, like you're saying, is very important. You need to be in tune. And I feel like you need to be very comfortable with that person, because if you're not comfortable, you're not doing what you really want to do. So it's like, if you're someone who needs certain things done to achieve that level of satisfaction, being comfortable is like number one, because how embarrassing, you'll feel to like say what you want if you're not comfortable. So being comfortable is very important. Like that for me, in order to get there, I have to trust you. So trust, being comfortable, connection, those are things that are very important to get me to a certain level. It's like, especially like, I think it's so funny. I've had this conversation on my podcast. There's so many things I want to do. There's so many disgusting things I want to try, but I have not been comfortable yet.
You know what?
I haven't. So
I like how you said that. I like how you said trust and respect. And I have to say, sometimes that varies at different periods in the same relationship. So you can be with the same person and that can change, and your sex life can change. And I think that's
absolutely
pretty typical also in a marriage. And so I agree with you both. For me, it's respect and trust. And all of those things that will make me get really freaky. But if I have to say, the funny part is my brother is our moderator.
Sorry, Kano.
Uh-oh.
I'm sure he wants to laugh right now. But
there's so much more that he wants to hear.
But those are the things, like, obviously, yes, since dinosaurs walked this earth, I've been with Jake, and it has definitely been a roller coaster ride. The same with our emotions. And I think that's, I won't even chalk that up to just being a woman. I think that also men kind of go through those phases too with their partners. So always it's important to say what you want and say how you're feeling, and all of the good stuff. And that kind of takes me into this. I found this like Dear Men quote, but I really want to make it inclusive. So it's basically like, dear partner, whoever you are with, it says, it's your fault too if you're not having an awesome romantic life. You need to empower your woman. Women do well with compliments. So exchange women for any gender, but whatever you desire
Right.
from her, you need to focus on in a positive way. Compliment their appearance, encourage their spontaneity, show that you
Mhm.
can be the person we can trust you to be. We need to see you as, it says as the man, but we behave this way in every action you take. That means acting in integrity, confidence, strength, and compassion. We will never nag or second guess a person who stands firmly in these qualities. Own these. So I think you guys really encapsulated like the confidence, the comfortability, the trust, the respect. It's
Mhm.
not about like being this demanding person sexually. Like, you know, sometimes in the movies you see someone like grab someone and kiss them really violently and
That
everything like that.
aggressive, yeah.
No, I think it's more about like being in line with your wants or just being honest with what you want and like, you know, just like any relationship,
Absolutely.
giving and getting.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
It definitely has to be like a very comfortable situation, because if not, you're not going to get to where you want. And you're right. The quote is right, saying it is your fault if you're not. It's also your fault if you're not getting what you want, because closed mouths don't get fed. The squeaky wheel gets the oil. Like, you got to say what you want. And, you know, there's ways to go about that. Sometimes people feel like they don't know how to correct their lover, or, you know, into telling them what they like. You kind of have to, like, again, be comfortable enough to say, "Ooh, I like it more when you do this. I prefer that. I want to try this. How do you feel about that?" Instead of just being like, you know, I guess won't say anything and just take what I get. This is the one life you have. Why are you going to go through life with bad sex? Like, why? What is the point of that? Like, that sounds like a special kind of hell to me. And I'm sorry, I'd rather be by myself than have bad sex.
It's not
Because
like
then
a
you
lot.
can control it.
Right. You control what you get.
Yeah, it is your sex life. It is. So it's like, if you're
And
gonna get what the most out of it, talk about it.
right. And that actually kind of leads me to my next question. Like, to what degree do you feel entitled or deserving of pleasure? You know, or when did you figure out that you could make those decisions on like saying what you want?
Um, that's very tricky, because I was with, you know, my son's father. I was with him for 13 years. So my whole, like, I guess, sexual revolution kind of happened with him. I didn't lose my virginity until I was like almost turning 18. I was always afraid to be around guys by myself. Like, cause I don't know, I just wasn't confident in myself. Definitely before I got my boobs. Once I got my boobs, I became a whole nother woman. But anyway, whole nother show. But yeah, I think after like being with my son's father and being able to trust him was just like, okay, I know what I'm starting to like. I know what I'm starting to want. And like, I love him. So I'm comfortable asking for what I want. And it's like, if we're going to do this and we're going to be together and it's me and you and there's no one else and I can't go there and you can't go there, hell yeah, we are deserving of some great sex. Absolutely. That has to be a priority. If you're going to be the whole, you know, your person's person, why wouldn't you want them to feel pleasure and be satisfied? So I feel like just being good to yourself, you should want and know that you deserve pleasure and like the best sex you could ever have. Of course, it should be you feeling confident enough to be like, I deserve to be satisfied. Because if you're helping someone else, they should also scratch your back, you know what I mean, or your front, or wherever you want them to scratch. So I'm just saying, it should be automatic. As soon as you're having sex, you should know that you're deserving of pleasure. And I think I knew pretty early on with my son's father, because we loved each other. So
Yeah.
early on.
I think I had a very complicated early exposure, let's say, just because of how I grew up. I think I equated sex to my value, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't probably until like what you're speaking about, Dee, where I started to feel comfortable with myself and my own self-confidence, where then I started to realize that it wasn't tied to my self-worth I suppose.
Right.
So it
really
was
not.
probably not until like the latter years of college where I was like, okay, no, like actually this is about me too. Like, so
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
it was later for me for sure.
Yeah, and I feel like beauty standards kind of affect that too. So if you're not so confident in yourself, you bring that into the bedroom too. You know, I know
Absolutely.
with having sauna, my blessing, but my body wasn't ever how it ever was. I used to be super confident, but for some reason being pregnant kind of like really made me second guess myself in every aspect, in work and DJing and all the things that I love, and including myself. So when it came time to where I was healed and it was like time to start thinking about that again, I really felt like he doesn't want to see me like this. And, you know, I felt those feelings. But when I think back at it, I attribute it to like just society's beauty standards, because really he did not give a fuck.
Girl,
You know, he just
men-
wanted to feel
men
loved.
love us more than we
Yeah.
love ourselves sometimes.
Yes.
Like, honestly, we are
Yes.
so critical of ourselves and of each other and of what we're supposed. They don't give a damn. You have a vagina, you got boobs, you're soft, you're the opposite of them. They're turned on. Period.
You're soft.
So, like,
You lotion.
girl, yeah. Seriously.
You're not dry.
Let me tell you something. So, like, one of my girlfriends, her ex, she was dating him for a while. He's this crazy, like, super fit. He looks like a G.I. Joe doll, right? Like, literally cut. And she always felt like, kind of like, I need to get in shape. And girl, he don't want no muscly girl that's all hard and scraping up against him. He wants to feel your soft, womanly body. And I'm telling you, and him and I would talk about that, because after she had a baby, he was saying, my job is to remind you every day that you're sexy, because you are sexy. You're a woman. Like, this whole thing with hip dance and all these things, they love all of it. They don't care as much as we care. We put so much on it. Men don't care about cellulite. They don't care about stretch marks. They don't care about boobs that don't sit up anymore or whatever because you're breastfed. They just want, as long as they get a mouthful, a handful, they don't care. They don't care. They don't care. We don't look like them. That's the main thing. That's what well, for straight men, like, they don't care.
Right.
So you bringing more booty into the bedroom, I promise, was not a problem. You having more booties, you having more touching on, like, you don't give a damn, girl. You probably like, bring that ass, all of it. It's mine.
Yes. Yes. And
100.
it was just, that was all in my head. And also, it's, even though they're telling you all these things, you're still in your head, and you've got to get out of it somehow.
Absolutely.
You know what my
But
therapist just told me? My therapist just told me I have cognitive distortions, and I think that's what you have.
That is definitely distorted, this one.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it happens. It happens. Like, for me, before I got my boobs, my son's father was so big and so against me getting them. He was just like, why? You have perfect boobs. There's nothing wrong with yours. I love them the way they are. He was just like, if you get them, I don't know if I'll touch you. I'm like, you will. But, like, it was for me. I did it for me, because I've never had a guy be like, I think you're gorgeous now, but you don't have any boobs. That has never happened, and it never will. Like, they don't care. Me getting my boobs done was for me to feel like, I just felt like I was supposed to have big boobs. I have big boob personality, so I got the boobs. But, like, guys don't care that much. Girls, they couldn't care less. My only thing I will say, though, that did happen is when I was pregnant, my son's father would not touch me. Worst thing ever. As soon as I was like 7 or 8 months pregnant, he would not touch me. And it wasn't because he wasn't attracted to me. It wasn't because he didn't think I was still sexy. It was because he was, like, weirded out at the thought of him entering a body that holds his child.
I think they all have that thought.
Poke in the head.
I know.
Yes.
I remember telling Jake, like, you look at me like a mom, not your wife, or not your, like, sex partner. And it's like, well, it's kind of hard to not see that big old belly. But
exactly. Yeah. Like, the baby's not going to reach down and grab it. Like, chill out.
No. I honestly think they get, like, more.
What is that?
But I don't want to come out. What is this alien object? I can't unsee that. But I do think men are actually, they get more attractive to you when you're pregnant. I don't know. Maybe
But
not,
yeah.
but I think Jake did.
Well, some men
Well-
are into that. That's actually a porn category. It's really gross if you ask me. But yeah,
That's
there's a
strange.
pregnancy porn category. Guys like
This
to see,
episode is
like,
really about
really-
this episode's really about educating Issa
Oh no, girl!
on all the
You
porn
said
categories.
we need to post a date, and we can sit down and we can talk, and I can let you. I do research. It's for research purposes. But like,
It's important.
there's a lot out there. There's everything you could think of out there, honestly. So
I think you should get
Yeah.
paid for this research. Well, I've been asking all the
For real.
questions. So we're going to get a little more, we're going to actually add a little more of a degree of uncomfortability for Tilo and I. And we're going to have Dee ask us whatever under the sun she feels like asking, truth or dare or whatever.
I'm scared.
Okay.
Me too.
Are you guys married? You're both married. I know you're married, Issa. You said you're married, though, right?
I am,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. How long?
10 years in May for me.
10
It will be
years.
20, well, not married, 6.
Married 6. Okay. And it's only been you guys so far in the bedroom, right?
Yes. I was, okay.
No one else
not
has
because,
ever been brought in?
no. No.
My question is, how would you feel about maybe bringing in some extra hands?
Okay.
You want to go, Tilo?
I mean, it's not, I'll say it's not something that's never not crossed my mind.
Right.
But then I feel like it would have to be a female. Like, I don't know that, I don't know that it wouldn't, I feel like it wouldn't be the right dynamic for us as a couple if it was a man.
Yeah,
Most couples are like,
I feel
Issa?
Jake and I have talked about it, and it has to be like where we have to feel comfortable both ways. Like if it were to be an addition of a female or addition of a male. And so I don't think it's going to happen, BT dubs, but for us. But yeah, sometimes I think like threesomes have a little bit of a double standard for women. You know, because that is mostly like the dynamics of like a like you know,
usually another female that comes in, and
yeah. So really, I think the female body is like way more attractive than the male body.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I have no problem with that, but also, I'm very curious. So I've asked people who have open relationships. I always ask them about their relationships, and Jake's always like, "Why are you always asking? Are you interested?" And I'm not. I like it how it is.
Just curious.
Super curious because I never had the education before, right, guys? I'm like, so I need this talk. But yeah, but I think about it that way. You know, I definitely think I would be more into being with another woman in my relationship. But I would also want the opportunity the other way, I guess.
Yeah, to be fair.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like, honestly, for me, like, I have been in a long-term relationship, obviously. For me, I don't think I could ever allow another guy. I feel like it would just, more than one penis, 4 balls, that's too much going on. I think that.
I didn't think about it that way.
Like, the sword crossing idea to me sounds really, I'm not.
I never thought about it that way.
Think about it.
Would be too much.
Think about it. That's why it's like I feel like it would have to be another woman. Absolutely. Because too much. Yeah. I feel like even if I were to wake up, that's gonna be my next question. If I woke up as a man, just being me, because this is the question I always ask. If I woke up as a man, I would probably pursue women. I don't think I would want to have a homosexual experience like that. I just wouldn't want to. Too many penises to me. So it's my preference. But like, I had this client, this gay guy. He's like one of my like closest friends. He's so hilarious. And we've had all these conversations, and I always tell him like, "Oh, it isn't just like there's too much going on with you guys," and I'll laugh and say like, "Ugh, it's so just gross to me." And he goes, "I know, right?" He's like, "Vagina to me is ugh." I'm like, I love that we can be open. So like for me, like in all honesty, I just don't think I could do it. So my question to you guys next is, if you woke up as a man tomorrow and you were going to be a man for 24 hours, this has been a good question we've asked on our show. What would be 3 things you would have to do as a man, and you only had 24 hours to be a man? What would those 3 things be?
So finally pee standing up for one.
That's always mine. Always mine. I want to pee standing up too.
But yeah, I mean, I would be a woman. I mean, be with a woman. Sorry, not be a woman. I would be with a
I
woman.
want to go back. I want to be a woman.
I would be with a woman.
Right,
What
see what
could
it's
you
like.
be? What would the third thing? Somebody enlighten me. What would the third thing be that you would do?
I don't know, but is it weird that I would want to try anal as a man, whomever it may be.
Meaning you're the penetrator, or
Yeah.
Because
Maybe
what
that's
is
just,
the big
my dominant personality?
what's the big deal? To know what the big deal
what's
is?
What is the big deal?
Like, the guys would always talk about it, like, oh, it's just, it's like really,
Different.
it's like nastier, and and it's like, it's smaller, obviously. But for me, I'm like, I would never put my penis in there. My penis would not be
No.
going to a poop shoot.
I would
No
have-
fucking way.
No, I would have no want for that.
No desire. So it's like, you kind of, like, I get what you're saying. Like, you want to know, why is this such a big deal? Like, that's not gross to me. It's gross. And my gay friend that was telling me, like, I'm so not into that, because he told me how much preparation goes into having clean anal sex, and I'm not doing that. You can't eat after 7 the night before. You've got to cleanse. You have to double cleanse, because if you have water in there and it comes out during the act, that's gross too. Like, there's so much stuff that goes into it. Like, I have a vagina. I'm good.
You have to schedule it. You have to, like, put it on an appointment book. This is the day.
Yeah.
I know. I've heard so many bad stories. Traumatizing.
Yeah. No, thank you. No, thank you. I always say
heard many
hi.
stories.
And I would
I'm
tell
so
him all
Asian.
the time, I was like, honey, if I could let you borrow my vagina, like, I feel so sorry for you that you have to go that route. If I could let you borrow it, I totally would, because it is the bee's knees, honey. Like, nothing like it.
Right. I am happy the way I am.
Yes, thank God. So, peeing standing up, being with a woman, and trying anal. Interesting day.
Well, what's the most popular answer besides the pee standing up? Because that was one of my things.
It is getting head.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, every girl is like, I want to know what that's like, because guys, like, literally.
Yeah, I wonder if it's that much exponentially more pleasurable than getting it as a female. I mean, it must be.
Well, see, the thing is that the skin in our mouth is the same as the skin in our vagina. So that's why the textures feel so similar and they're so pleasurable. So that's another reason why, they like it so much. Besides, obviously, they're not having to do anything.
Yeah.
You're just laying there receiving. So, yeah, I always, like, ask that question, because most people will say, the girls will be like, first thing, pee standing up. And it's like, oh, I want to know what it's like, to have sex with a man, like, what it feels like. Like, that's just got to be something completely different. So, and I've asked men this question, and their answers are similar. Not the pee sitting down. They don't ask that. They're more of like, they would be lesbian the whole time.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I would just, some guys, like, I would just stare at myself and play with my boobs.
I think guys would just, like, sit and touch it all day and, like, be amazed.
All day. All day. Oh my God, did you ever see that? You saw that, like, video with Little Dicky where he switches places with Chris Brown, and how when he becomes Kendall Jenner, he's like, I'm gonna explore being a woman, and he goes back in bed. Because obviously that's what they're doing. They're going back to, that's all they want to do.
Well, thank you so much, Dee, for joining us on this journey of taking sexy back. It's a big subject, so we're gonna have to revisit for sure. But are there any last gems? Oh no, we loved having you.
Oh, this is great.
Thank you. Like, this is fun. I can talk about this all day once I get started. Any other gems, just to women out there, to stop being ashamed. Like, we literally are the sexier sex. Sex would be nothing without us. If we were to disappear tomorrow, the world would burst into flames. Whereas if it was the opposite, we would figure out a way to carry on. So stop being ashamed of your sexuality, stop being ashamed of the things that you desire, as long as they're, like I said, no animals or children. And it's like, and just really, you know, be open with your girlfriends, because that's who you should be able to talk to. That's my biggest thing. There's no reason you should feel like you can't talk about these things. So it's a part of life. Like, that's how we get here all the time. Really, that's it. So that would be my last thing.
We are gonna make a commitment as friends. I'm gonna make this commitment with the Tiffanys that we're gonna talk about it more. We don't have to talk about the guys specifically, but we're gonna talk about it more openly. Because I think we learn here a lot. Yes. And we're gonna ask
gonna help the babies. It's gonna help the babies later too. Like, it's gonna, like, generational wealth of knowledge is what we're working on right now. So
there you go.
I love that.
I love that. Thank you for joining us, and everybody out there, thank you for joining us. You know, as Tit Talks, we aim to reflect and empower women on subjects that matter most to us. Be a part of our family and get a sense of how we and other women conquered this world by following us on Instagram, and getting on our email subscriber list. Review us on iTunes, email us suggestions, and tune in on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, Amazon, all the avenues. We are going to stay live for a couple more minutes to have just a free-for-all open conversation, but please feel free to stay on. Let's take our sexy back. And again, if you need to reach us, you can see it down below here, but also we'll, you know, reach out to us. And so thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
I did have another question, Dee. Is I've seen you on I've seen you promote Clubhouse and promote Big ZD on Clubhouse. How do you like that platform? Yeah, like how do you like being on there?
So here's the thing: I have a love-hate relationship with Clubhouse. I love the concept. I've had so much fun. I've literally had conversations with people that I would have never gotten to talk to. It really opens the floor for that. The only thing is it can be very addictive. And there was a time where there's been a few times that I've spent, 7 hours on there. And it's like, dude, this is too much. Because the thing is you could just be listening in and going about your day. And I've literally had it on. I'm just like chiming in when I want to and like going about my day. So it's not like you're sitting there with your face on, the whole day. I think it needs a little fine tuning, but it's a great platform. I really enjoy it. I think it brings so many people together, so many different rooms you can drop into and just like talk to. Like I've been on there and like, there's just been celebrities coming on. You're like, holy crap. Like I can sit here and like say, something to so-and-so. And it's just like, it brings a lot of people together. So I like it. I think that it is definitely going to be huge as long as it gets over this new hump. Because things, can be really popular and then all of a sudden it's a desert land. So I'm kind of curious.
How can we find you? What's your handle on Clubhouse? How can we find you?
It should be Sunny D3. Okay. I think it's Sunny D3. So everybody follow Sunny D3. I'll follow you back on Clubhouse. It is invitation only. So in order to get on there, you have to be invited or approved by someone else on there. But it's cool. It really feels like you're at the club, but like faceless. So you'd be looking a hot mess, but still talking.
So your profile picture doesn't.
Girl, as long as that profile picture looks good.
Wait, do you and Zara go on together as Big ZD and cover these conversations that I need to learn more about? No, I'm kidding.
Should we join your conversations?
I know.
Yes. Oh my God, we should just do a whole like collab. That would be so much fun. We're still figuring out because she's been traveling a lot for work right now, which is why we haven't even done our own episodes. But we're kind of thinking we're applying for a Clubhouse, which takes a while. So you have to do you have to apply for it to get your own actual like Clubhouse. Now you can make your own room. That's easy. But to have like an actual club on there, it takes a while. So that's what we're waiting for right now. But yeah, we're going to have a little baked ZD club on there where you can go on and we'll schedule like our Wednesdays is when we usually do it. And we go in there and we talk about all of this stuff.
I'm going to turn on my notifications when you're on so I know because I feel like
yes, I'll start advertising that. And I think, you know what, this is definitely something I would like to cover on our show is like, because her and I don't have a problem talking about things. But there's so many women who really do. They really do. And I can't lie. Like when I first started doing Baked Ziti, I would cringe. I would even rewatch the episodes because like, I don't want to hear myself talking because I know I went off hinge. So I think this is a great subject. I think we are too far into the world. We are in 2021. There's no reason why women should still be ashamed of these topics. Like, again, going back to what I was saying before, sex is great because of us.
Right.
So, I mean, obviously, except for like, there's like men that are like, I don't even like you guys. But for the
Right.
most part, sex is great because of us.
Hey, but we're always there to hype them up too in their own lives.
Yes,
So.
absolutely. But this is such a great subject. I'm so glad you guys are covering how taboo this still is in a modern day. Like literally in a modern day. And it's crazy. Like there's no reason that people should feel this way. So thankfully we have these kind of platforms
in our culture.
I know.
Yeah,
we should definitely have a room with you guys on Clubhouse and collab on it.
And we can talk about the different, because Zara grew up very different as well. Like she's so into being open, and she's been obsessed with being like empowering to other women as well. Because if you look at her page, like she's gorgeous, her body is incredible, and like she owns her sexuality very well. And it's just so many people don't, so many people just don't. And she doesn't apologize to anybody. She's very unapologetic, and I love that about her. She's very in charge of herself. And the thing is that the misconception about her is they'll see her being this sexy, sexy woman. She is such a prude when it comes to like actually being sexual. She's like, ew, I don't want anyone touching me until I know that you're worth my time. Like there's different levels to that. You'll have someone who's like this angel who's literally had 500 partners. And you have someone who's literally like being sexy online all the time, who's like, I can count on one hand how many people I've been with. So that's another thing that we could talk about. Like, it's just, there's so many layers to women. There's so many layers to us. And to be put in a box is insane.
And we're always put in boxes.
Absolutely. And that's so sad. I mean, we can go deeper into that,
Right. And I like what you said, like, you don't have to have a million sexual partners to own your sexuality. That's not what it's about.
Not at all. Not at all. People don't get that. They don't understand that. It's like, there's so many levels to it. Like, dude, you could literally be an angel out in front of everybody else, and you have a Murphy bed that lets down with whips and chains and all this stuff in your house, whereas you're someone who's sexy all the time and goes home and puts on pajamas and eats ice cream watching I Love Lucy all day. Like, there's so many layers to us. So
I know which one you are.
Like, I talk a big game, and that's the thing, I talk so much, but it's like I said, there's a lot of things I want to do that I haven't because I haven't felt comfortable enough. But that doesn't mean I don't have it in me. I do.
You do. We all have it in us.
Everyone does. So, yeah.
Well, the baby girl, I can hear her calling. So, gotta wrap it up. But I look forward to more conversations. I think for us, it's so important to have this conversation specifically. And I'm so happy you're here because it was.
I know.
And Chuk and Teacha working in a video store, like that blew my mind. Like 9 years old working in a video store.
Handling corn.
That's insane. I was like, wait, what is happening? I was listening. I was like, what?
Oh my gosh.
It's so good to have you on, Dee. I love this.
I know.
Thank you so much for having me. Me and Ethan have been talking about this for a minute, trying to get like our schedules together, and then finally today. So we're all bad right now.
We made it work.
We did.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. I love you guys. This is amazing.
I know. I loved it. Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks. It was nice to see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Dee, thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll see you soon, Boo.
Yes, after COVID. Bye.
Yes. Bye.